What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. Forgive this. It's wash and condition day, and I could not be bothered to do my hair, so it's drying right now. We got another story time for y'all. Personally, I don't like K-dramas anymore. I used to watch nothing but K-dramas from like 2013 to 2016. But after a while, especially the romance ones, it's like the same old cliches, they're predictable, and just not my cup of tea anymore. Also, FYI, romance K-dramas are so fake, like none of that actually happens. Except tell me why today we have a literal K-drama plot for y'all. As usual, watch the video until the end. It really helps support my channel. Drive up the engagement, leave a like, leave a comment for the algo, for the algorithm, for the watch.
For the watch. For the watch. For the watch. For the watch.
Binge my videos, they're all put together in playlists for y'all. The story times, the vlogs in Korea, the rants, and big thank you to my channel members as always. I just uploaded an Ireland vlog for y'all yesterday, so please go check that out. And if you too would like to share your story, please email me at cclesson3@yahoo.com. So the star of today's story is going to be Mirabelle. Mirabelle. We don't talk about Bruno. She wants to be anonymous because she said admittedly so. Some of the decisions she makes in this story, y'all are about to see, are quite reckless. And she fully owns it. She said she's only in Korea for like a year. She's adopting this do it for the plot mindset. This is what she said. I'm young and more interested in experiences than actual relationships. I read the comments on past story times on your channel. Some of you guys are hella judgmental and negative. I'm sharing this story because it was an interesting experience and I want to support your channel and give you content. Thank you, Mirabelle. Muchas gracias. Again, I am always very amazed that people take the time out to type out PDFs of their story. Like, they make sure they have it very detailed so I have something to work with. It takes the time from your busy schedule to just tell me a story so I can tell y'all a story. I am always grateful for that. So, Mirabelle is an English teacher. She just started a few weeks ago, but she did move to Korea over the summer, and when she got there, she kind of spent a few months wandering, getting a recruiter, trying to find a job, and she finally started working a few weeks ago. Now, because she's young and she's only 22, she said her curiosity got the better of her. She heard plenty of stories and saw plenty of videos about the fuckboy experience that is Tinder in Korea. I mean, Tinder in general, let's be honest, but particularly in Korea. Quality is just suregi. But again, she had that mindset of do it for the plot. So here we are. So like I said before, she only plans to be in Korea for a year because she wants to get back home and continue her studies, but she wanted to take a break and explore and just find herself a bit abroad. So she leaped right into Twitter. So she leaped right into Tinder and she matched a boy and somewhat hit it off with the boy. And for the sake of this story, we're gonna call him Juan. She said Juan was really cute, almost like too cute. Like she thought he might have had either a girlfriend and a wife and a fiance. He might have been a catfish, or he might have been heavily altering his pictures and editing them. She was like, he's just too fine to be single and on Tinder. But she figured either way, she'd probably have a better shot of engaging that in person, like by asking him in person, looking him in the eye and asking him. So she said, yeah, sure, we can meet. When he suggested it, she said, cool, we can meet up one day. She did say his English was really broken, but for the most part, she understood what he was saying. Like, he understood English better than he spoke it. And oddly enough, he actually spoke Spanish better than he spoke English. So while waiting for the date to approach, it was a few days in advance, she hits off with another fella on Tinder. We're gonna call him Haneul because it means sky, and I've always liked that name. She said Haneul was definitely a lot more cheery, more social, like he replied quicker, and that just got her more interested. But she says she has to be completely honest and acknowledge the fact that Juan was way more attractive to her than Haneul was. Juan was a bit more distant. He wasn't as quick to reply. He left her on red a lot, or he didn't open the messages a lot. But again, Haneul was nice enough, so she said, you know what? Yeah, we can meet up one of these days too. Again, do it for the plot. Like, she's just trying to have a good time while she's here. She's in Korea for a good time, not a long time. Now, what I'm about to explain in the story, I can personally relate to because it happened to me too. And yes, I did make a story time. Y'all can check that out if you haven't seen it. Watch that after this video. So again, Mirabelle made plans to meet up with Juan first. She talked to him first. They agreed to meet up first. And the 10 days or so, she said it was a little more than a week, leading up to meeting Juan, he wasn't really responding. He was leaving her on red. Personally, the way I see it too, I think we kind of have that in common. You kind of assume that you're no longer going to meet anymore. Like, sadly, dating online, you get used to ghosting. You get used to things just fizzling out with no explanation, and that's just it. Like, you don't catch feelings anymore. You just let it go and move on. Since she wasn't really hearing from Juan, she kind of assumed those plans weren't going to happen anymore. So when Hano said, hey, what are you doing this weekend? She was like, nothing now. What do you want to do? So to Hano, she said, cool. All right, I'll see you this Saturday. Can't wait. So Friday afternoon, she finally gets a response from Juan. This is the first time she heard from him in a few days. And he's like, hey, what do you want to do for lunch tomorrow?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
So yeah, long story short, Mirabel made plans to meet up with 2 different guys on the same day. And guilty, because I did that too. But in my situation, it was similar. I thought the dude was ghosting. So I made plans with somebody else. And then he was like, oh, well, I took off. Like, they both told me that they cleared their schedules to meet me. So I'd feel like a complete asshole if I was like, yeah, but no, never mind. So I made time to meet them both in the same day. Again, y'all can check out that vlog after this video. The difference is my situation was a lot easier because one guy was a total dick and the other guy was more decent. So the dick had to go, the decent dude stayed around for a bit, and I made a few story times about him. Mirabel, she's in quite a pickle. Y'all about to see why. But like, what would you do if you had plans to meet up with 2 different guys in the same day? One's really cute and really your type, but he's less social and more distant. The other one is not so much your type, but he talks to you more and he's fun. One's more your type than the other. By the way, just a little PSA. It does not make you shallow to not want to date a guy who's not your type. Sorry, mini rant incoming. It'll be brief though, I promise. Why do people, guys, make it seem like if a guy is nice, then you're obligated to date him or give him your time? Being nice should be the bare minimum. Like, what the fuck? We don't reward the bare minimum? That's like, come on, bro, give him a chance. He bathes regularly. As he should. I'm not gonna date him just because he bathes regularly. I'm not gonna date him just because he's nice. Like, you're entitled to having a type. Also, why do people, guys, make it seem like girls choose to be with a guy who's an asshole? Like, do you not realize that the guy is not an asshole at first? He's nice at first. That's how he reels you in. That's how he hooks you in. Then once you fall in love and it becomes harder to leave him, that's when he reverse Uno cards and shows you his real side and takes off the mask.
Gotcha, bitch!
Got him!
And it becomes harder to leave because love makes us stupid. 2 O's. Okay, sorry, rant over. Back to Mirabel's dilemma. So she messaged Juan to explain, hey, I didn't hear from you for the past like week plus, so I kind of assumed that our plans were off and we were not gonna meet anymore. He said he switched shifts with someone and made his schedule free so he could meet with her. So then she asked why he stopped replying to her, and he said he was just busy. Don't they always say that? I've never been so busy that I can't send one text message. A good morning, a good night, I'm sorry I've been busy text, something. It takes 30 seconds. So then Mirabel decided to not respond to him because she was annoyed with that typical response. So she said, I'm gonna leave you on red. I'm gonna go meet with Hanu. So she's like, yeah, Hanu, so what do you want to do tomorrow? Like, we're gonna have so much fun. And he said, because the weather's been really hot, we should do something indoors. We can go see a movie, we can do some shopping underground, or maybe go for a drive around the night and enjoy the AC in the car. All of the above she thought sounded like fun, so she said, yeah, cool, that sounds great. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. So later that night, Juan sent her a text message that was just a question mark.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
And Mirabel thought it was so funny because she's like, bro, you left me on red for over a week and you can't handle being left on red for a few hours. So again, she didn't reply to his question mark. She just left it on red. So now it's Saturday and Hanu drives. That's a pleasant surprise. He decided to pick her up from the station closest to her place because she didn't want him to know where she lived. And it's actually really common, like when you meet up with friends, y'all meet at the station because typically you take the transport together, so it's just a convenient meeting place. But in this case, she didn't know he was going to come and pick her up. She thought the drive might happen later, but yeah, he came over, picked her up at the station. Now this is important to keep in mind that he met her at the station nearest to her apartment. So Hanu brought her some kimbap because he said the movie's about to start, movie snacks and stuff are expensive. I don't know if he had time to eat, but in case you wanted to eat this while we drive over there, here's some kimbap, which is so nice, and I miss kimbap, it's so good. So they pull up to the movie theater. He already like pre-booked and paid for the ticket. She wasn't expecting that. She was like, oh, thank you, like Hanu, that's so sweet. So she said it was kind of funny because she didn't like the movie. She didn't tell me what they saw, but I'm wondering if it was like The Equalizer or Elemental. I liked Elemental, but it kind of reminded me a lot of Zootopia. But I heard that that was a big movie in South Korea over the summer. So anyway, after the movie, they decided to go do some underground shopping, enjoy the cooler air, walk and talk a bit. Because it's Saturday, it's hella packed, and she was not about this. She was like, it's too many people here, like, can we go somewhere else? So then Hano was like, okay, yeah, we can go for that drive a little bit sooner. It's actually better because the next day he had to drive to the countryside to see some family. So he didn't want to have like a late night out anyway. So he's like, yeah, okay, we can start the drive now. We can listen to some music, enjoy the AC, just talk and chill a bit. She was pleasantly surprised by his music taste. Like, it was very similar to what she liked. She was like, oh my God, like this is a vibe, yes. So after spending time with him in person, she was like, wow, he's just as sweet and cheery as he was online. Like, this is great. He's really comfortable to be around. Like, I really like hanging out with him. She even told him that he was way too nice to be on Tinder. It's funny because I told my ex the same thing. I was like, why are you on Tinder? Like, you're a nice, normal dude. But then he was like, well, you know, it's convenient to meet people. What about you? Like, you're a nice, pretty girl. Why are you on Tinder? Why? I keep wanting to say Twitter and Tinder. I don't even use Twitter. And her reply to him, I felt that. She said, I'm a foreigner and my Korean isn't good. I don't have many other options except for online dating. And again, I felt that because so many people, when they heard all my bad story times from dating on Tinder personally, they're like, why are you even wasting your time? Every guy on there just wants to hook up. I was like, well, when you're a foreigner in another country, you don't really have many options because I tend to assume that most Koreans are attracted to Koreans. So I'm not gonna just go up to some Korean dude and be like, do you like foreigners? Do you speak English? Are your parents open-minded? Nah, pause. Why the fuck do I look like Thanos? So online, it's a good way to vet people to see like if they've been abroad, if they're interested in foreigners, if they speak English, you know? So unfortunately,
This is my last resort.
so to wrap up their successful date, he drives her back to the station where he picked her up from. And he said, you know, this was really fun. I would love to hang out with you again soon if you have time. And she was like, absolutely. Like, I would love to see you again. This was great. Thank you. So he drops her off back at the station where he picked her up from. And she's, you know, smiling like, wow, that was fun, you know, heading to her apartment, heading home. And then she hears Mirabel from a distance. And she's like, the person she heard calling her name was Juan.
Bombastic side eye.
Let me explain. So one thing you'll find very common in Korea is when you're meeting someone or getting to know them, they will always ask you where you live. And it's very frustrating because a lot of the time it's for pervy reasons, but also just so I know what area you're in for when we meet, I know where to go to meet you. So she didn't say where she lives, she said the station that was closest to her apartment. So that's why he knew what station was near her house. So two things were going through her mind. First of all, she was really freaked out by the fact that he was here because she left him on red twice the day before, and now he's just here. What the fuck? Two, he was not a catfish. He was not editing his photos. He was really that fine in person. So then he asked her, who was that man that just dropped you off? And she's like, Juan, that is none of your business. What are you doing here? He said, we had plans to meet. I changed shifts at work, so I still wanted to see you today. I'm really disappointed.
What did he say?
He said, why did you stop replying? And she said, sorry, I was busy. We just love a petty queen, don't we? He said, busy. Yes, I saw. So who was he? She's like, Juan, that is none of your business. And then she said that she was going home. But he said, oh, you know, I came this way and I was just waiting a bit. Can we at least get some tea or some coffee? And she saw like how fine he was in person. And she was like, fine, 1 cup of tea or coffee would be okay, I suppose. To her surprise, she said that he was actually a lot more like social and charming in person because online he seemed pretty cold and not social. But in person he was like, oh, really like giggly and smiley, and he bought her tea and it was pleasant. Way pleasanter. Way more pleasant than she thought it would be. But now she's finding herself liking him too, and bro, this is exhausting. So when they finished their tea/coffee, he asked, oh, would it be okay if I walked you home? She said, nope, absolutely not. You're not walking me home. She said, it was creepy for you to wait for me here. I don't want you to know where I live. He said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, but don't worry, I'm not a perv. First of all, bruh, only a pervert says they're not a pervert. Actually, I lied because in South Korea, they often do call themselves a pervert, and they do so proudly.
I'm a perv.
Anyway, after telling him, no, you're not coming to my crib, she watched him depart via the train station. She made sure she saw him go downstairs and then said, okay, I'm going home now. So she gets home and Hana says he made it home. He hopes she have fun and can't wait for them to see each other again, and good night. Juan also messages her saying, hey, it was nice seeing you, good night. Suddenly the next day, Juan is talking to her. He's actually replying. He's actually socializing. This is a first because she was so used to being left on red, or him just straight up not opening the messages. I guess he's not that busy no more, huh? And Hanul is communicating the same as he always been, putting in the effort, checking on how she's doing, explaining when he's busy, asking her what she's doing. You know, you're talking to someone, basic normal conversation, except he asked her, oh, by the way, who was that guy I saw greet you at the station when I dropped you off? So they saw each other, bruh. So Middlebell decided to be honest. She said, he's a guy I met on Tinder who I thought was ghosting me, but suddenly he popped up at the station near my house. So he's like, oh my god, okay, what a strange man. But like he said the day before, he would be really busy today because he had to drive to the countryside to visit some family, so he wouldn't be able to talk with her as much for the day. And she was like, yeah, that's fine, like, you know, drive safe, enjoy your family, don't worry about me. So with Hunter being out for the day, Here's Juan's chance to strike. He said good morning. He asked her if she had plans on Sunday. It's Sunday now. And she said, oh, you know, I'm actually trying to find a job. I need to get things situated and paperwork situated for my recruiter, so I'm really busy today preparing for job applications. And then he's like, but surely you gotta eat, you know, you can take an hour from this busy schedule to eat. You have to eat, you can't not eat. Why don't we have a quick meal together? And at this moment, she realized the night before she never got to grill him on the fact that, like, what are you hiding? Surely you have a girlfriend, a wife, a fiance, all three. She was like, you know what, yeah, let's meet for a quick meal because I really want to ask him this in person. So it was about 3 hours later when they met up for some Korean chicken, and she said backfired, did not think this through because, you know, she still wants to be cute because he's a really attractive guy, even though she wants to interrogate him a bit. But it's hard to be cute when you got chicken grease around your mouth and you got plastic gloves on like a fucking Viking. But she did find the time to ask him, so why are you on Tinder? Like, what are you looking for? And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, look at you. You're pretty gorgeous. Surely you don't have difficulty finding girls in real life just walking around. He said he's so busy, he doesn't have time to date, so Tinder is just really convenient for him. Why is it so convenient for everybody all of a sudden? People say it's so convenient, but then they don't reply to you, so it's not that convenient, is it? And then she said, oh, so you're single? He's like, yeah, of course. And then she said, oh, you're not like dating, you don't have a girlfriend or fiance or wife? He was like, no, why would I be on Tinder if I had a girlfriend, a fiance, or a wife? Like, there ain't dozens of niggas who do that every day.
How many of you have ever felt personally victimized by Regina George?
He said he'd be lying if he said he didn't have his fair share of hookups through Tinder over the years, but he's not dating anyone, he's not exclusive with anyone. She decided to believe him. She said, looking him in the eye when he answered her, there was no hesitancy, there was no stutter. A girl for 여자 친구 아니 없어. He didn't hit her with the huh, you know, when they huh, so they can have time to come up with a response while you repeat the question.
Wait, huh?
If you can huh, you can hear, Justin.
So she decided to trust him until she had a reason not to. And TBH, she didn't feel all that invested in him because she was still feeling Hano the most. She liked Hano more than Juan, so she wasn't too like, if he's dating somebody, whatever. But at least I got to ask him in person. So Mirabelle also decided to be honest and tell him about Hano. She's like, you know, we were supposed to meet first, but when I didn't really hear from you, I kind of went back to swiping, and I messed with Hano, and he was always there to talk and hang out and meet up, and we did. When you ghosted, I met up with him. And then Juan said, okay, that's cool, and got really quiet after that. So Mirabelle's like, is something wrong? What's wrong? He's like, no, nothing.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
Ain't nobody lying.
So she goes back home after their awkward lunch. She's finishing up her paperwork, you know, getting things ready for her recruiter and all that stuff. And she heard from Hano. He said, oh, I made it here safely. Driving wasn't too bad. But she didn't hear from Juan for the rest of the day. So she figured, again, that's probably it. He's probably upset that I'm talking to another guy and very interested in another guy. That's fair. That's fine. I can focus on Hano. About a week later, Juan called her. This just don't end, do it. So she cautiously answered the phone. Like, this might be an accident. 여보세요? And he asked her if she wanted to go on a date Friday night. He said, surely Friday night you're not doing recruiting stuff, you're not filling out paperwork and applying for jobs on a Friday night, unless you have a date with your boyfriend.
Shut up, Meg.
So she said no, she didn't have plans on Friday night, but she was meeting Hano on Saturday. He said, okay, so it's Friday night, cool, I can meet you around 6. She said, sure, do it for the plot, why not, I'll see you at 6. So we jump to Friday, and she goes to the station where he stalked her, where she can meet him, and she saw that he had flowers. Aww. So he sees her, he gives her the flowers, he says, you look nice, and let's go. So they get on a train. She's like, oh, where are we going, by the way? He said, oh, it's a surprise. Why is it always a goddamn surprise? So they go into a part of Seoul that she's not familiar with. She doesn't know where they are. So half joking, half cautiously, she said, we're not going to your place, are we? Ha ha ha. And then he said, oh, would that be a problem? What? Now she said normally in her everyday life, this is the part of this meeting, this encounter with this man, where she would just be like, nope, and abort the date and go back home. But she felt this strong sense of do it for the plot. So she was like, I'm not going to your house, but we can do something else. We can hang out somewhere else. So he apologized, like completely caught off guard, like, oh, really? I didn't think that would be such a problem. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, sure, let's find something else to do. Like it was the most casual situation. And she's like, was this fool seriously trying to get me casually at his house? And who brings flowers to a booty call? So many questions. And he's like, no, 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 it's not like that. I was gonna cook for you and then we're gonna watch a movie. AKA, yes, I was trying to fuck.
Smash.
So she said, let's make one thing clear. I am absolutely not sleeping with you. I'm not into anything casual. That is not my thing. I don't do hookups. I said it right there on my profile, but that don't matter, they all ignore it anyway. She said if that's what you want, then we can stop wasting each other's time and I'll just go back home now. So he said, no, it's not like that, I like you, I'm sorry, we'll find something else to do, don't worry. So then they get off a different exit. They exit the station and they find that they're at an arcade and there's some axe throwing. And she was like, wait, that's actually kind of lit because I've never done axe throwing and I actually want to do that. I've never done that either. I don't trust myself with an axe. So to her surprise, they had a great date. He was funny, he was charming, he was weirdly protective, like, oh, do it like this, oh, be careful, don't throw it that way. And she felt like he was a normal, sweet guy, which doesn't ring. That doesn't add up. The math's not mathing. He was just trying to get you to his apartment, girl. It's so scary how these dudes can be so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, they can be so sweet, but also have such nefarious intentions. She said it got awkward while she was out with Juan because Hana was messaging her like, oh my god, I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. It's gonna be so fun. So anyway, at the end of the night, Juan asked her would it be alright if he kissed her, and she was like, oh, yeah, sure, you can kiss me. And she said she was not expecting to feel what she felt through that kiss. Like, it was a good kiss, it was a nice kiss, and she also felt a spark that made her uncomfortable because now she really liked two different guys at the same time. So now the next day, it's time for the date with Hana. So their plan for their date was to go bike riding at Seoul National Forest, which sounds so nice. I love Seoul National Forest. I've been there a few times. Very peaceful, naturey place, but in the summer I would not. I can only imagine all the mosquitoes. Ugh. So Hana was like, oh my god, like, how have you been? I missed you the past week. What have you been up to? So she decided to tell Hana about Juan, the guy who he saw her greeting at the station. And she said, yeah, I met up with this guy. We went for lunch, and then yesterday we went to an arcade. I saw him as kind of friendly, but now I think I might kind of like him too, just to be completely honest with you. But she also said she liked Hana more because he was more like available and open, if that makes sense. So they had a nice picnic date. She said every time she spent time with one, she felt like she liked him more, but like overall she still liked Hana the most. So at the end of the day, he takes her back to the station, and while he wasn't bold enough to ask for a kiss, he did hug her, and that was great. They're at the station, they're about to hug before they part ways, but this is the part that I wish I was making up. As Hana is hugging Mirabel goodbye, someone calls Mirabel again, and she's like, who's calling me? And it's Juan, bruh. All three of them are at this same station. This is literally a love triangle, or maybe a like triangle. Love is a strong word. And Hana says hi to Juan, and Mirabel to Juan is like, why are you here? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
How are you here? How? No, answer me. How are you here?
I don't know where here is, but you know, I was over there, now I'm here.
Juan explained that he wanted to see Mirabel again, and he remembered that she said that she was going to be meeting with Hana, so he knew at some point she would have to come through the station unless he drove her directly to his house. Not knowing what else to do, Mirabel says, Juan, this is Hana, Hana, this is Juan, and this is awkward. So then they all kind of just stared at each other, and then Mirabel said, I think I'm going to just go home, like, this is weird, what is wrong with you? Then Juan said, oh, I was hoping you had a little time so we can hang out again tonight. And then Hana said, it's strange how you want to meet her after our dates.
And
After that, they started talking to each other in Korean, Hana and Juan, so Mirabel is just like, I don't know what's being said.
왜 앞에 겐지? 포기해! 내가 왜? 임시경 마음이 중요한 거 아니냐? 포기하라고 했다.
So Mirabel said, guys, none of us are in a relationship with each other. No one is exclusive. I told you about him and I told him about you. So what is the problem? And then she said, Juan, this is really weird and it makes me uncomfortable how you keep just showing up here, particularly after our dates, hoping to meet up with me again. And then Juan said, was it creepy when we kissed? So then Hana was like, kiss? What kiss? So then Mirabel said, yeah, we kissed, but I wasn't really expecting it either. And then Hana asked, why didn't you ever kiss me? And she said, you never asked. Touché. So then to try and defuse the situation, Mirabel's like, I'm sure I'm not the only girl you're talking to, and I'm sure I'm not the only girl you're talking to. And then Juan said, actually you are, like, I'm too busy, I don't really get to meet up with this many girls. And that's when Hana said, you're too busy, but you're always waiting here at this station. Again, touche. Hana said he has been chatting with other girls, but Mirabel was the only one he was meeting in person and spending more of his time with. So that backfired because if they were telling the truth, they were in fact only seeing Mirabel at that time. So then Juan said she should choose who's better for her now. Bro, it's literally a K-drama. Mirabel's like, bro, I'm not choosing. I still barely know either. Are we went on like 2-3 dates each? I don't know y'all that well yet. And she said, to be honest, this makes me not want either of y'all. Hana asked, why? Why does this make you feel that way? She said, because y'all are putting me in a situation trying to make me feel bad when I've been nothing but honest with both of y'all. You know about him. I told you about my dates with him, and I told him about my dates with you. I've been very open in the situation. I don't want no part of this. Y'all making this overly complicated. We're just casually dating. Nobody is committed or exclusive. I'm going home. And she straight up just walked home. And then she said she heard Hanu walk away and was like, fine, like whatever, F this. But Hwan was like, hey, Mirabel, wait. But she ignored him and just kept walking. So she doesn't know what happened between the two of them when she left, but she did say that that night when she checked her Twitter, Hanu unmatched her. And they never talked again after that. Hwan, on the other hand, was still, it became more apparent that he was looking for some booty. She thought it was so weird how Hwan was so possessive in person, like, oh, she should choose now who she wants to be with, but only hitting her up late at night, only trying to hang out at night on weekends, and very sexually suggestive in their conversations, their like text messages. So yeah, after a few obvious attempts to smash, she said, I'm not talking to you no more, and she unmatched and blocked him. And you would think that would be the end of it, right? But no, this is a K-drama we're talking about. So about a month goes by, and Mirabel's coming home through the station again, and she sees Hwan, and he's asking, why have you stopped talking to me? Why don't you talk to me anymore? I don't mean no harm, girl, but it sounds like you might need to call the cops. She said at this point, I'm over it. Like, I'm over you. You ruined my date with Hana ruined this with you. Like, I'm just over this. Y'all made this way too complicated. You just want to smash, but you don't want me to date somebody else too. She said, this is really creepy. I don't feel safe. Like, please stop talking to me. Don't see me. Don't talk to me. I'm done. And he finally said, okay, I'm sorry. Bye. And to the best of her knowledge, as of writing this email, she has not seen him again. Hopefully that means he has not seen her again. She hasn't been on any other dates, but she also said it's because she just started working, so she's really busy. Hagwon life is a lot different from public teacher life, so I know she has less free time. I am personally hoping that because she has a new job, that they put her in a new apartment, which means she won't be at that station anymore, because that is hella sketchy and scary. Mirabel, please be safe. Thank you for sharing this story, and update us if anything else happens. So that's it, y'all. This was a K-drama in real life. The fuck? Please check out my playlist and binge my videos that are about to pop up on the end screen. Thank you for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!